Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Happy to have you here. It's Thursday, which means tomorrow is Friday. I know my boy Fish is
Who cares
pumped.
about Friday? Tonight is Thursday night football,
True.
Kennedy.
We do have something to look forward to today.
I know. Jeff finally decided to show up to work and look decent.
Thursday night football, baby. I got to dress nice.
All right. Well, how are you boys this morning? Let's start with that.
Yeah, we're doing good. I'm doing good at least.
Yeah,
Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good.
I
A
know
little late today, but
Jeff got stuck in traffic.
it was
today,
traffic
so
bad. It was bad.
Traffic bad.
Traffic
696 was horrible.
We're gonna quote that and make it short for Jeff.
All right. Well, a lot of the drama is continuing, right, with Calvin and the Lions. He now wants $1.6 million, and he doesn't want to do anything for it. I know they made some deal with him, $500,000 a year for, 28 hours of work per year. Not a bad deal, in my humble opinion. I would do it, but now he wants $1.6 mil for doing nothing. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Jeff, let's start with you.
Well, let's just take it back a notch to when he retired in 2015, because it was a time where his yearly salary was set to increase the very next season, and the Lions desperately wanted to know what he was going to do. And they made Calvin give back that unearned signing bonus, and the Lions got their 7 figures at the time. But this is the problem, though. You can look at other organizations like the Indianapolis Colts with Andrew Luck. They gave him almost guaranteed $25 million when he retired, and maybe that's Jim Irsay just saying, hey, if you ever want to come back to football, here's $25 million. But I think it's just different. That's just the respect you have for great players. I think we already had Barry Sanders go through that situation, and now Calvin Johnson. But here's the most disappointing part: is even with new ownership. Sheila Ford-Ham in charge. She even came out, I want to make amends with Calvin. I want to fix this thing. But it's more complicated than that, obviously. Obviously, the offer the Lions gave to Calvin, the 28 hours of work, whether it's showing up and doing appearances for him, whatever the case may be, to pay him back, and almost like payments of $500,000. And the reason being, thanks to Jeremy Reisman via Twitter, so it doesn't have to count against their cap. They can pay him, cut checks for $500,000. If they were to pay him that $1.6 million, they would take the hit on the cap. Which, who cares? I mean, look at where the team is right now, and look how much cap space you have available. Give the man $1.6 million, so that way you can have a Detroit Lions legend around the building, especially a guy like Calvin Johnson, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. My question is, what's the issue? We're clearly in a rebuilding phase.
The issue is how stupid they are.
That is a big issue.
It's not hard to figure out.
No,
you bring him on as a consultant. You give him the $1.6 million. He doesn't work an hour. He doesn't work. He bills you maybe 1 hour, and that's it. You move on. He shows up to the facility. He walks around. Hey, how's everybody doing? He leaves. You cut him a check for $1.6 million.
Right.
Why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Calvin Johnson was quoted in an interview with Graham Bensinger. And he said, I'm not going to close a chapter, but I'm not going to bend over backwards. Keep in mind, this is coming from one of the greatest Lions players to ever play. I'm not going to bend over backwards and try to do anything because I didn't do anything. I did my job, referring to him playing for the Detroit Lions. I'm not saying they got to repay me the $1.6 million up front, but they need to figure out a way to do it and not have me work for it because I already did work for it. And that is so Calvin Johnson in the best way possible. Humble guy. Mm-hmm. And he's not asking for everything at once. He's trying to work with you, and somehow you're unable to work with probably one of the most easygoing, humble guys in the NFL ever.
Right.
What's the problem here? Andrew Luck was given $25 million, not only because of the potential that, maybe he comes back. It wasn't really that. It was Jim Irsay knew he couldn't protect Andrew Luck for the 5-6 year stretch that he was in the league. And it messed up his whole body. And he said, you know what? I don't need the $25 million. We already accounted for it on the cap. We're not worried. Andrew, enjoy retirement. That's how you treat your legends. Luck is a legend in Indianapolis because he took over during one of the most traumatizing
Turned
periods.
it all around.
Peyton Manning left. You're supposed to go through a 10-year drought when a quarterback like that leaves. And they just 11-5, 11-5, 11-5, 11-5. Playoff wins. And then you have Calvin Johnson, who gave everything to this organization, to the city as well, for 10 years, 11 years, however long it was. Never asked for anything, never demanded a trade up until the end, and he was very polite and mature about it. And not only did you not trade him, forcing him into retirement, you asked him for $1.6 million. It never changes.
You know what?
And how it's not solved now or yet is beyond me.
You know what I don't get is I'm a man who believes the universe can sometimes try to tell you things. And I think this year, new regime, all right, Calvin just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Everything's aligning for you. Look at the phase you're in as a franchise. Give the man his $1.6 million. And I get his side of it. Like people are, the normal, like me and Adam, people like me and Adam would say, well, 28 hours for $500,000. It's a lot of money, but it's a respect thing. It's
about thank you.
Yes, it is. It simply is. It's a respect thing. You got a guy in Calvin Johnson who's been nothing but good to you. It's similar to Andrew Luck, put his body on the line for the Detroit Lions franchise, and they're greedy over 1.6 to billionaires.
Jeff, imagine how hard could this be? Calvin Johnson is coming out and telling you, "Hey, I don't need this all up front. So, work with me." All right, Calvin. Well, it's 1.6 million. You divide that, let's say by what, 8 years? That means we have to give you $200,000 a year over the next 8 years, and it'll count against the cap. Only $200K. Now, how much of it goes against the cap? I don't know. It's probably a little bit higher, but it's nothing significant. Even if you did the 1.6, it's not significant.
Right.
You're not. I don't know. I don't like this.
I'd rather just pay him up front. I don't like
this. You're telling me it's been what, 5-6 months now since they've said they want to mend the relationship with Calvin. That was prior to him going into the Hall of Fame. They still haven't figured it out. And their solution was to make him work 28 hours a year for the next 3 years to get it all back. Kick rocks. And that's what exactly what Calvin Johnson should tell them. Kick rocks. What are you serious? You serious? Like, I gave everything to this franchise. You asked me for $1.6 million. Why? I still don't know to this day. All you had to do was trade me, and you wouldn't even have had to give up that money.
Right.
And you weren't willing to trade me, but you're willing to trade Stafford. Oh, we're changing. All right, show me you're changing. Actions. Show me. Don't just tell me you've changed. Show me. You can't give me $200,000 a year for the next 8 years. You can't, without me doing anything. Like, is this really that difficult? It's a $500 billion, no, more. The NFL is worth hundreds and hundreds of billions.
And the Fords.
And the Fords are worth billions.
Yes.
And you're telling me you can't right the wrong with arguably the best wide receiver in Detroit Lions history and could be a top 3, top 5 wide receiver of all time. You can't do that. And not only that, his personality so fitted the city of Detroit. Hardworking. Plays through pain. Doesn't complain. He's very quiet, easygoing, but he's putting in work behind the scenes. I mean, productive. And that's how you treat him. And you have a great opportunity to not only like mend the relationship with Calvin and really bring him back and involved with the team in the city, but you have an opportunity to really give the fans something that they would appreciate, not only Calvin. And you can't give him that? Why? You're going to make him work 28 hours a year to get back the money that he had already technically earned? And he told you, hey, trade me, please. I want to go play for a contender. It's not working here. I can see where this is going. And you can't even give him that. And now we're here and you're still trying to finagle your way around it? I don't like it, Jeff.
And what message does it send to future, either it could be wide receivers, it could be any position for that matter. Obviously, you saw what happened to Barry Sanders. What does this say to other players when they get drafted to the Detroit Lions? It's an embarrassment. I mean, considering they could have righted the wrong, especially like Adam said 6 months ago. When he went into the Hall of Fame, got inducted, he thanked the fans and everything, didn't thank really the organization, but you know what I mean. That's what happens. You're just making yourself look worse, and amending this relationship with Calvin is gonna make the Detroit Lions franchise just a little bit more respectable. And why not? He's one of the greatest players in franchise history. It's very depressing that we've come to this far, and hopefully we'll see resolution in the future, whenever that may be.
To anybody who may be siding with the organization here, like usually I'm an organizational guy. Like I always take the organization and the franchise over a player, regardless of the sport. But we're talking about the Detroit Lions here. This is a miserable franchise for the last 60 years, whether you want to admit it or not. And this is their star player, premier player, whose number is going to be in the rafters in the next few years. And this is how you're treating him? What message are you sending? What person wants to commit to a long-term contract in Detroit, given how they've handled Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, and they finally got the Matthew Stafford thing right? But regardless,
it's a bad look.
Who wants to play for the Detroit Lions long-term if you can't even take care of your Hall of Fame players, let alone your middle-of-the-pack players? What are we doing? I don't like it. I don't know the ramifications on what steps they need to take to give Calvin the money where there's no, legal issues on either side. They can figure that out. They've had 6 months to figure it out. But I don't like that I'm sitting up here, what is it, September 16th, and it's still not figured out. He's been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and we're heading into week 2 of the NFL season. What are we doing? He's coming in for what, a halftime ceremony against Baltimore in week 3. The clock is ticking with opportunities to make amends.
Sooner or later,
figure it out.
I'm
not asking for much here. Just figure it out, Sheila. Get your team to work and figure it out. Take care of the guy and move on. You keep talking. Everybody keeps telling me how this regime has changed. It's new. Okay, show me. You got the GM. I like him. I like it a lot. Good. Sheila's made some good decisions. I like her willingness to step out and be bold. Cool. Be bold this time. Take care of Calvin and move on. Move on. You don't. What are star players? You think you're going to attract star free agents in their mid-20s out of their first contracts with this as your track record on how you deal with star players? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. Why do you think the Knicks have been struggling to get star players to go to New York in free agency? Players are willing to go to Brooklyn over New York. New York you're talking one of the most historic franchises ever. And because of the rap they've built on themselves in the last 25 years, they're not able to go get anybody in free agency because of their ownership. You want to be like that, Detroit? You're doing a great job of it right now. Get it together and fix it. I don't want to have to talk more about this. I really don't.
And real quick, I think this, with Sheila Ford in charge, I think this says more about the outside influence because it's been the same decision making. So hopefully Sheila Ford can figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I remember when we had just started the network, we were talking about this. So the fact that it's still going on, I mean, it's been too long. We've had the man himself in, which you guys can watch on our YouTube page if you're interested. We did a nice little interview with Calvin, who, like Adam said, is one of the most easygoing, kindest guys, and he has every right to, be cocky. But he was so cool to all of us, and it was when we were still a pretty young network. We still are, and he was awesome to us. So I'd recommend checking that out. But before we go to break, I need to hear about our friends at Northwestern Tech.
Listen, you can start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. You can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood. Happy to have you here on a beautiful Thursday. We've got Thursday night football tonight, so get pumped up. We'll talk about that later. Thank you, Fish. But before we do that, we're going to grade the rookie QBs. We're going to start with Mac Jones, and I'm going to be interested to see if you guys agree. So let's start with Mac Jones, and let's start with Jeff.
Ooh. I gave him a B. And listen, and this is why. He had a fumble, but he played well. He was 29 for 39, 280 yards, and 1 touchdown. I wouldn't even argue if you gave him a B+. But, yeah, I think he was above average. He played well. He looked like he looked in control, looked mature. And in all the reports we read, he's the most physically ready to play and mentally. makes sense. So I got him at B. I'm curious to hear what you got him at.
Yeah, Mac Jones for me, I'm giving him an A-.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. No turnovers. Efficient all game. Made all the throws he was asked to make. And the only reason they lost that game was because Damian Harris fumbled late into the ball game.
Yeah.
That's it. A running back mistake, dropped the ball, and that really just turned the game over. That was it. It was done after that point. But you're talking a guy that completed 74% of his passes, threw for almost 300 yards, I believe 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Mac Jones to start over Cam Newton, media made a big deal about it because, Cam Newton, he's such a pulverizing figure. This is why. Cam Newton, not one time last season, threw over 70%. Let alone anywhere near 74%. Cam Newton, not one time last season, threw anywhere near 280 yards. Mac Jones does it in his first game with the New England Patriots. Oh, well, the Patriots have 2 tight ends now, Adam, and they went and got Nelson Aguilar. It's very convincing. I have to say, Mac Jones, A-. Maybe he has room to grow, but I think he's really close to his ceiling already. I think you kind of see what he is. But who knows? He could surprise people, and, man... You watch a young Tom Brady, you see a lot of similarities in Mac Jones. From an attitude standpoint, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way he studies. Like, there are things there. And remember, keep in mind, Bill Belichick is his head coach. This is a guy that's never started a rookie quarterback week 1 in his career. And he's doing it for the first time with Mac Jones. He could have taken the easy way in, started Cam Newton, it didn't go well, then bring in Mac Jones. No. He started in week 1, and they almost beat a very good Miami Dolphins team. Credit to Mac Jones. I gave him an A-.
All right, next we've got Trevor Lawrence, QB of the Jags.
I'll start on this one. Trevor Lawrence really had a similar game that Zach Wilson did. They both came out and struggled early, and then they really rebounded in the second half. But the 2 turnovers were a concern for me, so I got to give him a B-. And I'm going to give him a B-. He did throw for 332 yards. He did throw for 3 touchdowns, actually.
3 picks.
But 2 interceptions, I believe, not 3.
3.
Was it 3?
3 and 3.
Well,
yeah.
there you go. So, way too many turnovers.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer put him in a really bad spot, in my opinion. I don't think you send a quarterback out there to throw that many times in their debut. Mm-hmm. And that's really what cost them. They couldn't get James Robinson going. And if you can't get the run game going with a running back like James Robinson, I don't know what to tell you. That is problematic. That is definitely problematic. I got to give Trevor Lawrence a B-. I love the way he rebounded in the second half. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They were playing down the whole game. It's very difficult as a rookie quarterback to walk into any situation, especially when you're down 2-3 scores. I thought he handled himself well. He handled himself well on the sideline. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will be, they'll turn good towards the end of the year, but they need time. And so does their quarterback.
I gave Trevor Lawrence a C+, just simply because, yes, he threw for 332 yards, 28 for 51. 51 times is a lot of attempts in your rookie debut, but 3 interceptions, it doesn't concern me too much. He'll correct that over time. Again, I feel like a broken record, but Peyton Manning did set the record for most interceptions in his rookie season, so I'm not worried about the little stuff, but he did play well in the second half, so that's why I gave him a C+. I think he turned it around. He looked composed, and I think he'll correct those errors. Like you said, James Robinson couldn't get going, and he had to throw from behind. And when the teams know you're throwing, interceptions happen. So, listen, you got 3 picks. I don't think that'll happen again. I got him at C+, and that's what I firmly believe. I think over time, over the season, you'll start seeing him just get more and more comfortable with this offense. Hopefully, Urban Meyer doesn't mess it up, and he can be successful. But I got him a C+.
Urban Meyer is not going to mess it up, Jeff. Come on now.
He might go to USC, though.
He's so mad about that. Those press conferences. He was not happy. All right. Well, next we've got the quarterback out of BYU, Zach Wilson. What do you guys think about him?
Well, he was 20 for 37, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. All right, he did play well towards the second half, but he sacked 6 times. So you know what I mean. If you're getting run over like that and you're running for your life, that Jets O-line's got to be better. I think Mekhi Becton's out for a couple weeks, but I gave him a C. I know the circumstances weren't necessarily great. He was running for his life, but 20 for 37, he's almost at 50% completion rate. It's not very good. He had a pick, he had a fumble. So that's just stuff he'll correct, obviously. But, I mean, honestly, I could have gave him a C-, but I'll give him a C in average. I think he'll get better, along with Trevor Lawrence. But what are you going to do? I mean, you're asking him to make chicken soup out of chicken you-know-what. I mean, he's on the New York Jets, and things aren't working out necessarily. So I gave him a C.
Okay, I feel like you were a bit unfair to Zach Wilson. So I gave Trevor Lawrence a B-, you gave him a C+. I gave Mac Jones an A-, you gave him a B. So we weren't too far off on the first two, but we're really far off on this one. Again, C-?
I gave him a C. I said C? I wouldn't be mad even if you gave him a C-. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay, I'm giving Zach Wilson a B+. In the first 30 minutes of the game, he was sacked 6 times.
Yeah.
When they finally got their act together in the second half and actually protected him and put him in positions to succeed, he threw for almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in the second half. He was making a litany of mistakes to start the game. Absolutely. He's a rookie quarterback.
Right.
But he was under duress almost every time he dropped back. And when you protected him, Corey Davis looked like a stud. You were able to kind of get the run game going just a little bit, but they need to be much better than what they were. But my goodness, the flashes of brilliance that Zach Wilson gave me in the second half, if you're a Jets fan, you are on cloud 9 heading into week 2. And guess who they play? They play New England. And it's not going to be an easy game at all. You're playing New England. Bill Belichick loves rookie quarterbacks. He beat down Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick last year together. Oh, I'm nervous for Zach Wilson going into week 2, but hopefully they protect him. But speaking of going into week 2, let's preview the quarterback matchups. We've got Mac Jones versus Zach Wilson. This is the first time this season. Jeff, kind of walk me through your expectations for this game. Is it going to be very similar to what we saw with Miami versus New England? Low scoring, a lot of, really just playing the field position game.
Yeah, with this game, it's all about, listen, I think the Patriots are going to come out with a win. Mac Jones, he's just too consistent. Obviously, you saw it in college. Played game 1, didn't look like he was a step behind at all. So he's ready to play. I think Zach Wilson, he's going to struggle against this Patriots defense, man. It's no joke. Tua struggled. He ended up getting the win, but it's tough, man. And Tua's, second-year player. So Zach Wilson's still learning things. He's still just adapting to the NFL. And what a week 2 game against the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. I don't know. I think the Patriots will come out on top. I'm hoping Zach Wilson bounces back, but sacked 6 times against Carolina Panthers. I don't think that's going to get any easier versus New England Patriots.
Yeah, this is a tricky game for Zach Wilson, especially Robert Saleh. You don't want Zach Wilson throwing 3 interceptions in his first game against Bill Belichick, which he might do. It's very likely. If you gave me the bet at 2.5, I might take the over. This is going to be a very difficult game. Are they going to be able to establish the run early so they're not forcing Zach Wilson to throw 37 times? Maybe they only force him to throw 26, 28 times. I think that gives them a better chance of winning. Not so much because I don't believe in Zach Wilson, but you don't want to have a rookie quarterback drop back 37, 40 times against Bill Belichick in that defense. He's going to disguise the rush. He's going to disguise coverage. Zach Wilson is not there yet, so he's going to make mistakes. It's just a given. And, you got to be very careful what you ask Zach Wilson to do week 2 against New England. Mac Jones, I believe, will have the better game. Clearly, I think he's
in the best situation.
He's in the best situation. He's the most ready quarterback now to walk in a situation and play like this. So I really like it. And then Trevor Lawrence, he's got a tough matchup. We thought Houston, they'd walk over him. They've got Denver. Teddy Bridgewater showed out week 1. The defense looked very, very good. This is a big game for Urban Meyer. You don't want to drop to 0-2. For Trevor Lawrence, Jeff, what do you need to see from Trevor Lawrence? Is it really a team effort? Do they need to run the ball better? Does Trevor Lawrence need to make better decisions downfield? Kind of walk me through this.
They need to run the ball. Establish the run through James Robinson and kind of open up more opportunities for Trevor Lawrence. Because if we know this one thing, any NFL quarterback, especially young quarterbacks, they succeed, especially in the play-action pass. You want to get James Robinson going early. And I know that it's easier said than done because they couldn't get Saquon going. I know he's coming off an injury, but the Denver Broncos defense is no joke. Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, and they got a really, really deep secondary. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. I want to say Trevor bounces back, but again, you're facing a tougher defense. He threw 3 interceptions to possibly the worst defense in the league. So I want to say it could improve, but Von Miller's going to get after him. That Jaguars offensive line, it's horrible. It's horrendous. So it is what it is. I want to see Trevor just get that run established so it takes pressure off of him. We know the guy's got an arm. I mean, we know it. What is he, 6'6"? See over the top of the defense, but it doesn't mean anything if he's going to throw 50-something times a game. It's just he's not bound for success. So I think they got to establish the run, something that the New York Giants couldn't do, and hopefully put Teddy Bridgewater in some tricky situations, because against the Giants, man, he looked flawless.
He looked flawless. He looked comfortable. There was no pressure coming from the New York Giants defensive line and really linebacking core, which is odd considering the Giants were really going to be one of those teams that were fighting for a top 10 position in overall defense. So it took me by surprise. Denver's a very good team. Urban Meyer, you have to be able to run James Robinson. This is not a game anymore. You have a rookie quarterback. I think we all believe in Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
But James Robinson cannot have the game that he had. You have to use him more. Set him up in screenplays on third down, second down situations. Try to get him involved early on. Give him 17, 18, 22 carries. You have to commit to this. You have to. I know, Etienne is out for the year, I believe, right?
Yep.
Well, tough luck. Get over it and use the running back that you have now. You have to. You can't let Trevor Lawrence drop back and be predictable. You just can't.
This says a lot about Darrell Bevell, because he's calling plays over there. We know that.
And this is the same Darrell Bevell that Lions fans last year, because he won his first game in charge. What if he wins out, he should shut up. He should have never been the head coach. He should have never been considered. And I'm so glad they fired his ass immediately. Get him out of here.
He goes away from the run very quickly. I mean, dating back to Detroit, we saw it versus obviously Houston. Like James Robinson, see ya. Trevor, 51 times throwing the ball. He can't do that.
I don't know how you expect Trevor Lawrence to succeed with Darrell Bevell as his offensive
same guy who coached Brett Favre. He likes to risk it for the biscuit, but this is a rookie quarterback. You can't.
Well, it's good for fantasy. It's not good for winning football games. So they should really reevaluate what they're doing. Kennedy, take us out of here.
All right. Well, coming up next, we've got to talk about what we're all so excited for. Thursday night football. It's finally here. But, Adam, I will say I'm very surprised. You were giving higher grades than Jeff. You were being a nicer grader than Jeff.
Yeah, Mac Jones gave me so many good things to work with. I gave him an A-. Trevor Lawrence he had way too many turnovers.
He'll fix that, though.
He was forced into that situation, and he's still 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. You got to give him a B-. And then Zach Wilson, his second half alone was an A+. I got to give him a B+ for his total performance. The first half, he was just shut down by the pass rush. So I'm not going to overreact to it. Let me tell you guys, it's football season. And to answer somebody in the chat, whose life would you prefer, Jets or Lions? Let me remind you, the Jets have been to 2 AFC championships in the last 12, 13 years. So you would prefer to be a Jets fan. But regardless, my bookie, it's that time of year, guys. Time to bet. Time to win some money. Bet from anywhere, anytime, using MyBookie. Sign up today using code Woodward. They'll match your deposit up to 50%. You put in $100, they'll give you $50. You put in $200, they'll give you $100. You know the drill. I'm here every morning telling you about it. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. You have a gambling problem? Please call the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our number one priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning in to Morning Wood. We've got Thursday night football tonight. Woo! Thank you, Fish. All right. Giants versus the Washington football team at 8:20 p.m. You guys, what are you looking forward to? What are you expecting? Jeff, let's start with you.
Well, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, and Montez Sweat are licking their lips right now because Young hasn't gotten a sack to start the season, and he's going to earn a couple this game, I believe. I think you saw the New York Giants against the Denver Broncos. They struggled to protect Daniel Jones per usual. But this Giants offensive line has been abysmal. And I'm not just talking about this year or last year. I'm talking about in general. I mean, you could say it, when Eli was there, now that Daniel Jones is there, they are not able to protect who's behind center. And that trickles down to who's running the ball. And Saquon Barkley didn't have success last game. I know he's coming off an ACL injury, but there's no holes to run through, so it does not matter. He was sacked twice, Daniel Jones, last game against the Broncos. 45 total sacks last year. It's horrendous. And then 38 the year prior. Personally, in this matchup, I think Taylor Heineke will do a good job just game managing because he's going to have short field opportunities, number one. And I think he has a defense that he definitely can trust. And if he makes mistakes, he turns the ball over, that's a defense you can trust. So, listen, on the flip side, the Giants put together somewhat of a respectable defense. I'm curious to see if they're able to get pressure on Taylor Heineke. They had 2 sacks on Bridgewater, but Heineke last game against the Chargers, 0 sacks, 11 for 15, 122 yards. So he was comfortable. He got to chill like a statue in the pocket. That's where he's comfortable. And like most young quarterbacks or just quarterbacks that aren't experienced, they just love a clean pocket, like most quarterbacks. If they come out and they pressure Heineke, 11 for 15 is not going to happen again. So you want to make him make those tough throws. You want to stop Antonio Gibson because the Chargers kind of failed to do so and then opened up more for Taylor Heineke. So if I'm the Giants, you stop Antonio Gibson and you make Heineke win the game. But if I had to give a prediction, I got the Washington football team winning this. It's going to be probably by 3. I think it's going to be close.
I hate your prediction. I hate it completely, especially your game plan. Don't you dare shut down Antonio Gibson. It's my fantasy running back. So excuse
yourself. He's going to lose.
Before you talk about my players. All right, let's get into this. Fun fact: Daniel Jones, who I absolutely despise as a quarterback, is 4-19 against every team he's played in the NFL, except the Washington football team. You know what his record is against them, Jeff?
What?
4-0. He's got a 130 passer rating, and he's essentially not a turnover machine like he typically is throughout the games when he plays the Washington football team. Now, having said that, I think this is the game where he probably loses for the first time against Washington. So I'll take Washington to win. I'm gonna say 27-20. I think New York still puts up a fight. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. 27-3 is a common thing in the chat right now. But let me start with the Washington front seven. It is probably second only to the Pittsburgh Steelers right now in the league. Dominant. Chase Young looked good week 1. They fought against, in my opinion, a top 5 team in the Los Angeles Chargers and a top 5 quarterback in Justin Herbert. Mm-hmm. They fought, and they were close. They lost by a point. They came this close. They were just a turnover away, basically, is what cost them that game. Or an opportunity to win that game, I should say, because Justin Herbert still would have gotten the ball back. But regardless, I like Washington tonight. I think New York is in for a rude wake-up call with Daniel Jones. If Gettleman hasn't seen it yet, I hope tonight just wakes him up. Because tonight will be the first time Daniel Jones loses to Washington. And it'll be the first time where you're just like, all right, I'm done with this kid. I'm done with him. He is not only the definition of Eli Manning, like he's literally Eli Manning reincarnated, except less talented. He loves to turn the ball over. He makes a few good plays every game, and he's kind of average, consistent at best. That's your franchise quarterback?
They could have got Justin Fields. They traded that pick away to get Kadarius Toney.
But again, like
I
they weren't ready. But you know, I'm not a Giants fan, so I'm not going to sit up here and ridicule Gettleman. But for any Giants fan, hint, if you want to criticize the Lions, you really should look in the mirror and look at the Giants first. Dave Gettleman is probably the most underqualified GM in the league right now. He's done a poor job over the last 3 years, and the only thing he's somehow managed to get right is maneuvering in the cap. And honestly, I like the Joe Judge hire. I really do. I think Joe Judge did a good job his first year. So we'll have to wait and see. For tonight's game, impact players, I got to go with Antonio Gibson. And you got to – it's so easy to say Saquon Barkley, but I think –
he's questionable.
I think Sterling Shepard is the play tonight. He's got to go for over 100 yards. He's got to get a touchdown. He's got to give Daniel Jones an opportunity to move the ball downfield. Evan Ingram, is he going to be available this week? So he's out. It's a tough game for the Giants.
Where's Galladay?
Galladay showed up in his first game. I believe 4 catches, 70-something yards, 80 yards.
I want him to. We need over 100.
Galladay, I guess you can also say, hey, you were paid. It's time to be a number 1 in New York. A lot of people have to prove themselves. It's the second game with the team. He's still learning the scheme. But regardless, I think this is a very important game for Washington to really put themselves in a position where they can compete for the division. All the NFC East lost, I believe, outside of Philly. So you're not so worried about Philly if you're Washington and Dallas, but you got to look out for it. You don't want to start the season 0-2. Dallas has a difficult week 2 game, so if you're Washington, this is a must-win game. So early on, one, it's a divisional game. You don't want to drop a game, especially to the worst team in your division.
Right.
This is a big game for Washington. I expect them to win.
No, yeah, I mean, Taylor Heineke, you could say what you want about him, but the guy knows how to win games with that defense. Like, that defense does so much. Like, they lost by 1 point to the Chargers, a team that is, Adam had him in his top, 6-5. This is a serious team. And, I mean, Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, and that defense pretty much by itself kept that game really close. And Antonio Gibson. If I had to pick 2 impact players, to me, it'd be Chase. I mean, they're both going to be on Washington. It's weird to say that. It's going to be Chase Young and Antonio Gibson. You need those 2 to click. I want Antonio Gibson to go for over 100 yards rushing.
I like what I'm hearing.
And they're going to win. But if they stop Antonio Gibson, I don't think
Hey, no.
They will not stop Antonio Gibson.
Hey, speak it into existence.
I got you.
Don't you give it even an option.
Who do you got winning? You got Washington as well?
I got Washington winning.
We both
and I need Antonio Gibson to go for 2 touchdowns. He has to make up for last week, his red zone debacle. So
one in the air, one on the ground.
We got to make up for it. To answer some questions in the chat, Herbert top 5? I think so. I really believe. I have the Chargers as the 5th best team in the NFL in my power rankings that we came out with yesterday. I really believe in Justin Herbert. This is not, overreaction or premature. The kid made 13 third down throws against the best front 7 in the NFL and probably one of the better defenses in the NFL. They barely won, yes, but they won. And they went away and they won. That's a statement.
Mm-hmm.
I love Los Angeles this year. I just do. For me, Logan Thomas is going to be a factor tonight too for Washington. That's where New York is going to struggle tonight. Logan Thomas, McLaurin, Antonio Gibson. You got to pick one, right? But you really can't. You don't want to give McLaurin the ability to beat you downfield. If you're New York, you want long methodical drives, we'll give it to you. And we'll try to, red zone defense and lock you up and make you settle for a field goal. Ideally, that's what you have. But you don't want Terry McLaurin beating you over the top 40, 50, 60 yards. It's not going to translate to winning football. So I think that's the game plan for the Giants tonight. I don't think they win, especially without Saquon.
That's tough.
I really expected Saquon to have a bounce back year similar to an Adrian Peterson. Go for over 1,500 yards, really assert himself as a 2,000-yard back from scrimmage. And, maybe they're working him in slowly, but if you're trying to win football games this year in New York, you don't have that time to afford. If you're looking into the future, then I like what they're doing. Just draft a quarterback next year and get Daniel Jones away from me. He is the definition of a bust. What's the over-under on an all LA Super Bowl? Wow, so the Rams versus the Chargers. What are the odds on that? I think if I were to put odds... So I believe the Rams are plus 800 to win the Super Bowl, and I believe the Chargers are like plus 2,800. So somewhere around like plus 4,000.
Yeah.
The odds of that happening, plus 8,000 to get both right. I don't know. I mean, because technically it's 2 picks, so
yeah.
It could double. It would be a nice parlay to put together. Teams to make the Super Bowl.
LA versus LA in LA.
Yeah, that'd be kind of dope. That'd be kind of dope. I like that.
That would be insane.
I like that. It's kind of cool. But the Chargers, I agree. Powder blue Charger jerseys are fire. They are dope. Listen. Justin Herbert, as early as it is to say, he's elite. He just is. What more do you need to see? That's my question. And that's for everybody watching right now. What more do you need to see from a quarterback where you're like, all right, he's elite. I got it. Now I just got to build something around him. Justin Herbert's elite. Played last year without a running back. Won 5 games in a row.
He was okay with that.
And he was okay with that. And he was throwing the ball, and he wasn't committing that many turnovers. Week 1 against one of the best defenses in the NFL, he doesn't commit a turnover. Justin Herbert is elite. Whether you want to put him 5, 7, 8, doesn't matter. But for me, he's the definition of elite, and I couldn't be more happy with him. So,
Adam, are you betting tonight? I'm sure you are.
I am. Of course I am. I'm taking Washington to cover. Okay. I'm taking the over. Mm-hmm. And I'm taking Antonio Gibson prop bet over 100 yards.
All right, there you have it, people. I hope you were ready. I hope you wrote that down. I'm always like, everyone wants Adam's bets. All right, So coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit about the Lions and the Packers, so stick around for that. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends at Coast.
Well, since 1919, Coast has pursued only one mission, and that's to make the working professional's job safer and life easier. Today, Coast Lights are a favorite amongst tradesmen and women, outdoor enthusiasts, do-it-yourselfers, first responders, and more. Visit coastportland.com and use code WSN20 for 20% off your purchase. They stand by their products and back them up with a lifetime warranty. Buying for your whole crew? Sign up with our Coast crew to take advantage of special discounts, early access to new products, and more. Again, that code is WSN20 for 20% off your purchase.
Welcome to the Call Sam Chopper Shop, where you can win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time.
Watch as the Bad Pig Custom team turns this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
And when it's finished, we'll be donating the bike to Volunteers of America Michigan to raffle off in support of our vets.
A great cause to give back to those who've given so much.
Watch for Call Sam Chopper Shop episodes on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood. Happy to have you here on a beautiful Thursday. All right, so we've got the Lions and the Packers DVOA right here. And that stands for Defensive Adjusted Value Over Average. That sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me, personally, so these guys are going to have to break down what that even is. But I've got all the stats right here for you, but I still don't know what it means. Can we start with that maybe, Adam?
Yeah, okay. Well, here, let's start with this first. I want to answer somebody. Steve R. Woodward Bets, they were on yesterday for Bottom Line. That's a big deal. This Sunday will be their first broadcast. We've yet to confirm the time, but it will happen in the morning, on Sunday morning before NFL kickoff. So we're really excited about it. We promised you guys that there would be a betting show, and it's finally here. It's finally here. It's going to be 7 days a week starting Sunday. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited for Scott and Chris, 2 seasoned vets. They've done DFS, sports betting. I mean, if you guys think I'm good at betting, these guys are much better than me, so I'm very excited for them. But to move on, yeah, the Lions, I'm not sure why we're talking about the Packers here. Are you just trying to make us Lions fans like feel better?
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
Because the Packers, I'll give everybody a start.
Misleading.
Their defensive adjusted value over average on offense is 32nd, on defense is 29th, and overall is 32nd. So they're basically dead last. Well, yeah, they lost 33-3 against the New Orleans Saints. Of course, it's 1 week. If you're real at home and honest with yourself, are you taking Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams or Jared Goff and Quintez Cephas?
Jared Goff!
I know, Fish. I know, buddy. Well, listen, the Lions are 29th overall, 25th on offense, and 30th on defense. I was surprised they weren't 31st, but regardless, we're pulling hairs at this point on what the average rating is. I think the Lions, they showcased how poor they were on defense. Week 1 against San Francisco. If San Francisco wanted to, they could have put up another 2-3 scores in the fourth quarter, but they coasted, and it could have been a lot worse. But moving forward from that, the offense, it's ranked 25th, and Jared Goff threw for over 30 yards?
Yep.
Almost 330 yards. I believe it's 327, but okay, move on. Your quarterback threw for over 300 yards. Your running backs combined from line of scrimmage, I believe, ran over 120, 130 yards. And they both were targeted over 8 times in the backfield. And your offense was 25th. What does that tell you? Well, to start, it means you didn't move the ball for the first 3 quarters. It means they took into account that you scored 16 points in the final 2 minutes of the game. That made a 24-point game an 8-point game. And it doesn't mean anything. So, moral victories only last so long. So if you're trying to pull out a moral victory from every game this year, it's going to be very difficult. So, look, the Lions deserve to be where they are. The Packers deserve to be where they are. How it affects the race going forward in the NFC, the Packers are still favorites. They've got one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. They've got an offensive Devonta Adams, an offensive stud. Aaron Jones, offensive stud. They'll get it together. Now, maybe Aaron Rodgers is tanking on purpose. I hope so. I would love nothing more to see the Packers fall on their face. I hate the Packers. But it's 1 week. even for the Lions, to be ranked 25th and 30th and 29th overall, it's so early. Give me 3, 4, 5 weeks of, sample size. Let me work on that. And then if I come back and you tell me Green Bay is 30th, Adam, and I'm like, whoa, we're 5 weeks into the season. What's going on? Adam, Detroit is 15th. Whoa, what's going on? Like, that is great. What are they doing? Like, a little more sample size here, Jeff. That's what I'm looking for on this list.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think they got to go up against not only that, but get some wins under their belt. They got week 2 Monday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers, who is bottom ranked according to these rankings. Obviously, offense 32nd, defense 29th. We can just go back to last year. They ended in top 5 in total yards entirely. So this is very misleading. They're going to bounce back. Monday Night Football. I mean, it's not being a hater. It's just I'm a Lions fan, and they're going to probably most likely at home at Lambeau Field blow the Lions a new one. And you could blame the refs, whatever. But Aaron Rodgers coming out throwing 2 picks in his season opener. The last time he did that, he won a Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's going to win one, but usually it doesn't happen. I'm just giving you that fact. It usually is very unlikely. So you know what? It's a good game for the Lions to see how they hold up in their division. Obviously, I have the Green Bay Packers as the number 1 team in the NFC North. I want to see how they handle against that team. I think it'd be interesting if they make it close. We can. Obviously, you don't want to take everything with everything as a win. Like, oh, we had it close against the 49ers, and then we get blown out against the Packers, but we pick off Aaron Rodgers. Well, at least we picked off Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's about bigger things than that. You're going to give your hopes up if you're looking for those every single game. But
you know why New Orleans was successful, Jeff?
Why?
Because they were able to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers.
Of course.
What did the Detroit Lions not do for the entire game against San Francisco? Against a less mobile quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Didn't pressure Jimmy G.
So Aaron Rodgers is going to be comfortable on Monday night. And if anything is true about the NFL and the Lions when they play in Lambeau, is the officials are likely to favor Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. So you're already up against that. You're away. It's Monday night. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are coming off an embarrassing loss. This is a tough spot to be in if you're the Detroit Lions. But to move on from the Lions and the Packers and their ratings, I want to ask you, Jeff, about the entire sideline situation with Aubrey Pleasant and Jeff Okudah. Your take on it.
It's people can have takes on it that aren't a part of the organization or who don't watch Detroit Lions, either training camp or just football games, like Steve Smith. Saying that's a sign of something bad to come is just, no offense to Steve Smith, but it's a little idiotic. I mean, if you're going to speak like that, there's plenty of reporters, Jeremy Reisman. I mean, these guys go to training camp, visually see Aubrey Pleasant, how he coaches these guys, and the love that he has for Amani and Jeff Okudah, Iffy, all these guys in the secondary, and how close-knit they are. Aubrey will talk to him as a coach. He's going to coach you up. He's going to get in your face. But it's all out of love. You saw what happened as soon as Jeff Okudah got injured. He was over there, first one over there, wishing him nothing but the best. I mean, that's just the relationship they have. If I'm a player, my coach better chew me up if I'm making plays like that. Why would he going to come over and hey, Jeff, you kind of gave up a big second down, 50-yard touchdown. But no, I want you to come over. It's tough love. You come over, you say what you want to. It even seemed like Okudah was saying stuff back to him. I feel like that's how it escalated a little bit. But nonetheless, it's all about Aubrey Pleasant and his relationship. You heard Amani Oruwariye. They interviewed him after. He's like, I absolutely love Aubrey Pleasant. I can defend that man every day of the week, and that's a good thing to hear. And other players from the outside who don't go to training camp, don't see these things, they can say whatever they want. The Lions know in the organization what Aubrey Pleasant means to the secondary. I think it's nothing but a good thing and nothing to overreact about. It's so stupid.
And this may shock a lot of people, but there's no support system and love and that caring that happens ever when you're a young man and you have a coach that you kind of look up to and you're looking for information from. Aubrey Pleasant to Jeff Okudah is what he is to most of those players, right?
Everyone has a coach.
In the secondary, and you have that coach that I'm okay with you being hard on me. I want you to coach me into the ground. Just, don't do it in a disrespectful way, which he didn't.
100%.
But, to show me you love and care for me by coaching me hard. I don't want to make this mistake again, Aubrey. Like, you think I'm happy I got beat on the sideline? No, Jeff Okudah wasn't happy. Coach me hard. What'd I do wrong? Did I read coverage wrong? Was I caught looking at the quarterback's eyes too long? What did I not look back when I was running? Like, help me get better. And that's what you want from a coach, and that's all you want as a player. So you're willing to take the hard coaching and screaming as long as it comes with constructive criticism. Like, I remember in high school, I was just named the starting quarterback my senior year, and everything was like going well. And in practice, I made a bonehead decision. I got pressure, and typically, like, I was able to evade it, but this time I wasn't. So I kind of like threw up a Hail Mary basically. I tried throwing it out of bounds, but I didn't have enough arm strength because I was falling back. And my coach ran up to me. This is like my favorite coach of all time. I love this man. I try to check on him every month to this day. That's how much he changed my life. And he came in and chewed me out, grabbed my helmet, slammed me, like hit. I've never been hit hard in my life. Like my dad didn't even hit me that hard. And this guy like was just going off on me. And I sat there and I took it. And I'm like, you're right. Like, if I get pressure like that, I can't react in this way. Adam, don't do this again. Okay. Understood. And he yelled at me, and we went through the rest of practice. We had a great practice. Walkthroughs went well. And after the practice, we were laughing, having a good time. He told me, good job today. Way to recover after. Like, that's what you want from a head coach. That's what you want from your head coach. I don't mind being coached hard, but please don't disrespect me. Don't speak as if I'm beneath you, or like, we're equals. All humans are equals, right? You have this theory. Treat me as an equal individual. Please, coach. I just don't want to be demeaned and spoken down to in front of my teammates, in front of my colleagues. It's disrespectful. So I think the way Aubrey Pleasant handled it was perfect.
Yes.
I loved it. I love that passion on the sideline. I think it's very important. I think especially on the defensive side of the ball, when the rules are really all put against you for the offense to succeed, you need that kind of coaching. You need that, charisma, that attitude, that fire on the sidelines, because it's a grind to play defense, and corner is one of the hardest positions in football. Mm-hmm. You're having to guard the most athletic players on the field all the time, and you have to do it for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. That is very difficult. So I like what Aubrey Pleasant did. I'm all for hard coaching. It's different when Matt Patricia is hard on you and then he's demeaning. I don't mind you being hard on me. Just don't disrespect me. Like, there's that line of respect that you have to have. I'm still an individual at the end of the day, and I'm playing my butt off for you, coach.
And I think this is the same thing. You hit it right on the head when you said you can be hard like your coach was to you. It's just disrespectful is where you draw the line. Like a Matt Patricia telling Slay he's never going to be a top corner, or he isn't a top corner in this league, like, that's different. Like, obviously, Aubrey Pleasant isn't going over to Okudah and saying, you're a bust. Like, obviously, I mean, this is different coaching. It's lifting them up and bringing them to that better place. You're not crapping on your players and ruining their psyche, if you will. So it's just different. People need to stop overreacting. I think it's probably easier that way to think about it than anything.
Since people are curious, no, there's limited footage of me in high school. Unfortunately, I didn't play football. I played my freshman year on varsity, and then I didn't play much, but I was the backup. And then my sophomore and junior year, I was like, I went through like a lot of bullying in high school, especially at my original school. So like I left after my second year, and I transferred. I told myself I never wanted to play football again, even though I was like pretty decent at it. And then my senior year, I tried out for the team, and I won this quarterback job. But unfortunately for me, I tore my ACL. I tore my ACL 2 days before the first game of the year. I came back later in the year and played, but there wasn't like huddle back in my day. I don't know, like all these people coaching and getting your footage, like that wasn't a thing.
So you were basically an ACL injury from going to a D1 college.
I wasn't a D1.
No, I'm joking.
I was not a D1 quarterback. I think I was, I was good enough in high school to win like 6-7 games with the team we had, but. No.
I want some tape on Adam, man. That'd be hilarious.
I was decent. I can still sling the ball today. I was okay. Like I was your typical high school quarterback. Like you all go to college with or high school with somebody that's like pretty good. It's like, wow, he must be amazing. But you compare him to the like upper echelons of people. Like, oh no, he's not that amazing. You compare my high school athleticism to Devin Gardner. It's not even close. He's like 100,000x the player I was. So. Not even close.
What's funny
though?
We're
all stars at our own high school.
I always knew there's a quarterback background. When you give this man a football, he immediately he puts it right here. I'm like, dude.
Listen, I was decent. I like to say I was decent. I played a lot of 7-on-7 camps in my day, but regardless, we gotta head to break.
Yep.
Kennedy, you know what to do here.
Well, I was just gonna say, listen, my high school quarterback went to the NFL, and he still lost us the state championship. So. The grass isn't always greener as a high school QB. Anyway, We are going to talk some Pistons when we come back, but before we go, we need to know about that lovely pizza from Papa Romano's.
All right, listen, I'm going to tell you about that. Listen, you should go Greek with Papa Romano's because for a limited time only, Papa Romano's is introducing their new Greek pizza. It's a classic blend of bold Greek flavors and tasty Mediterranean toppings with tomatoes, olives, onions, feta cheese, and more. Get yourself a large Greek pizza for only $16.99. Opa!
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here. It is Thursday. It is beautiful outside. I think the high today is like 75. That's my favorite temperature. So it's going to be a good day, people. All right, we've got to get into some Pistons like I promised you. All right, I need to know, and I'm going to start with Jeff because he loves this stuff. Should we hold on to Jerami Grant? Yay or nay?
Definitely, because you have a guy, number one, who wanted to come to Detroit. He turned down a very similar offer in terms of money from the Denver Nuggets, a playoff team who many now, with Aaron Gordon, predict could make a run. So, yes, he wanted to come and help rebuild this organization, be the man, number one. And regardless of having one of the worst records in the league, this team is constantly developing. I mean, you see all the young players they have. You want Jerami Grant to be there when things go well. I mean, that's just my opinion. He had a breakout season last year, and what we've seen and I've read, he loves playing for Detroit. He loves the city. He loves the team. He loves playing for Dwayne Casey. And absolutely not, you don't trade him. Unless the words are coming from his mouth directly. Unless he tells Troy Weaver, listen, I want to go to a contending team. I want to be done with this. That's different. But just trading him if teams are interested, of course they're interested. He's a talented player. You're going to get interest on a lot of these players. Do not trade him. Listen, because regardless if we think, me and Adam disagree, go back and forth, is he a third option, whatever the case may be, he's still a valuable part of this team. We acquired him. He was really the first great player we got. Then came Sadiq, Isaiah Stewart, all these guys. It just all ended up working out. So I like Jerami Grant. You don't trade him. He's got loyalty to us. Unless the words come directly out of his lips, trade me out of here. No.
What are you looking to accomplish? We saw this with Blake and Derrick Rose. Last year, early on, they had so much ball usage. I know people love when I say that word, so that was intentional. But, how much of the ball is Jerami Grant going to command, right?
Right.
Because you have a Cade Cunningham, a Killian Hayes, even a Sadiq Bey to an extent. I am not sure yet how this is going to play out. I think Dwayne Casey is going to give the first 10, 15, 20 games to really get a feel for how this offense is going to run with these four guys who can all handle the rock essentially on the floor together. Jeremy's probably going to be a solid 4, Sadiq a 3, Cade a 2, and then, of course, Killian a 1. What do you do with Jerami Grant? Do you hold on to him? I think you do for now. I don't know if his trade value is enough to get you something, reasonable. But if you can get 2-3 first-round picks for him, which I doubt, I mean, you make that trade. And, you're developing as a team. Nobody's expecting the Pistons to be contenders this year. And Jerami Grant, long-term, if Killian Hayes works out and Sadiq Bey works out and Cade Cunningham becomes a star, he's kind of just a nice piece to have, but he's not essential.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how it plays out. How do you feel Jerami Grant fits into this team this year?
He's a player that can just fit. What is he, 6'9"? He can guard pretty much 3-4 positions. He's just so long. He's so long, obviously. He's great on defense. He's a talented player. He's a guy that just fits. He doesn't command the ball. Obviously, he did last year because our team was absolutely awful and he was the best player. So, of course, he's going to command the ball. But on the Denver Nuggets, he didn't command the ball. He was pretty much a purely spot-up guy. The year prior, I'm not talking about his young days in OKC. Obviously, he developed as a player. But when he came to Detroit, his role arose. And then if we get better players, of course, his role is going to shrink. But my point is this. How do you continue to get better as a basketball team if you're trading away your good players? That's the problem I have. You could trade them away for a first-round pick or two, but then we're waiting for those guys to develop. I mean, you got a guy in Jerami Grant who's a 20-point scorer on a bad team.
Yeah, but do you want that? So, I believe I really believe Jerami Grant, at best, on a contending team, is a number 3 option.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely.
Right? So you have Cade. Ideally, he's your 1.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not Sadiq or Killian are 2, I don't know yet. I don't have enough yet. I don't have enough from either of them. Both really still have to develop a lot. Well, then that puts Jerami Grant in the number 3 spot, given if you push Killian or Sadiq to 4. So I'm not sure how this fits long term. That's really my question here with Detroit. Is he the long-term answer? Is he the answer for the next 2 years to, help the team learn how to win and really, take over late until Cade is ready? Sure. But I don't know how I feel about it.
It depends if he's okay.
It's not something I'm confident in. It's not something I'm confident in.
It depends if he's okay with that. Like you said, the third option on a contending team, whatever the case may be. If he's okay with that, listen, we're going to bring better players in here. You might need to take a step back. I don't have a problem with keeping him. I mean, the guy, for all I know, he can guard KD. He can guard a lot of guys, big, long guys in this league. Pause. But listen, that's why I like Jerami Grant. The guy, he fits well with any team he's a part of. You could drop him on any NBA team, and he'd fit in seamlessly.
Yeah, he'd fit in because he's a role player. He's not a 1.
Right.
He's not a 2. He's not a star. He's not an all-star. He'll put up 22 points a game on a bad team. Congratulations. I mean, I don't consider that an accomplishment, but
he could do 15 on a good team.
Yeah, I know he does serve a role. He serves a purpose, but not in what you're trying to establish here in Detroit, which is you're trying to establish Cade. You're hoping Killian doesn't turn to be a bust, and you're hoping Sadiq Bey turns into one of those spot-up shooters similar to a Klay Thompson, can play both ways, can give you 20, 25 points, and then on a hot night he gives you 30, 40. I mean, that's your best case scenarios I just gave you. And I want to shift to Luka Garza. They're taking him off his 2-way contract.
Love it.
I believe they're going to sign him to the team in full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
I think Luka Garza's special in this way is that obviously he won National Collegiate Player of the Year, and what he did at Iowa is just unheard of. I mean, the guy dominated all 4 years and went to the second round. So he's a guy in like Mac Jones, they're different sports, but he's the most ready to play. I mean, the guy comes in as a center, he drops 30 pounds. You saw him in summer league, he made an impact like that. Like that's the type of player Luka Garza is. He doesn't need time to develop. So that's why I didn't agree with the 2-way contract, because I'm like, you could put him in the G League, but he's ready to play, man. And especially a team this year who they might make the play-in tournament. Why not? Get him good minutes, and I absolutely love this. Luka Garza, you can play that backup big role, and I absolutely love it.
We share a very similar stance on Luka Garza. Jeff, the NBA came out with a potential, change to midseason, where they have that midseason tournament, and players get, I believe, $1 million for the winning team. Are you a fan of this proposed new midseason tournament? I'll start. I'm a big pass, a huge no on it. You shouldn't do this. Mm-hmm. Whether it's financially more, you don't know yet. You don't know if the ratings are going to be the same, and if not, if they're going to be better. So if you're the NBA, should you try things? Yes, you should always try to revamp your product, but I don't know if this is the move. I'm not sure if the players are going to be on board. If you're a head coach, I'd rather just send my young players out in the tournament. I could care less about the money.
100%.
I'll rest my veterans, and we're just going to prepare for the NBA championship, because that's the most important thing in the NBA. So why would I risk playing in a midseason tournament, my guys logging heavy minutes just so they can make an extra $1 million a year if we win it? I don't like it at all.
And
I don't like it.
That's the logical way of thinking. If you're an NBA team, why? Like, you have your goal set on winning an NBA championship this year or whatever year you go in. You're not thinking about a tournament for money. I mean, and I get they're trying to revamp their product, but some things, this is my biggest pet peeve with some products or some. You could think of a lot of things in life that do this. They make too many changes to the point where it's going in a bad way. Some things are just left untouched. Once they're like, the NBA has gone through so many development phases and adding new ideas and adding the play-in tournament. You're fine. Leave it alone. You're good. You made enough changes. You don't need to add another tournament with money. Like, look at the NFL. I mean, I know the NFL is the NFL, but they know how to do business. They've been successful for a very long time, and they don't make. I mean, they just added a game. That's it. Added a game. Are they going to add a midseason tournament? Heck no. And I know they're two different sports. Football, there's more injuries, but it's just as a company, the NBA this is a bad idea. I don't know if the players like it. I haven't really read too much into it, but if I'm a coach or a player, like you said, you send the young guy. Why? If I'm a 10, 15 year vet, I'm not going to do no tournament, especially if I'm comfortable with my bank account after all the money I've made in my career. It just makes no sense at all.
Fair enough. I mean, I think we're on the same page with Luka Garza, with Jerami Grant, and with this whole NBA midseason tournament. I don't like it. I don't think you should change the game that much. It's a bit It's a bit much. You've already had the play-in at the end of the season for the final 8 seed.
Which I'm just getting used to. So I'm still getting used to that.
To add a mid-season tournament, personally, I'll speak for myself. I am not going to be any more interested in watching the NBA if there's a mid-season tournament or not. It's not going to make me turn on my television. It just isn't.
It's the players.
So that's it. That's all we have for that. I know there's a special topic coming up in a little bit that someone in the room may be offended by. Kennedy, why don't you tell us what's coming up next?
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk some college football, specifically my favorite team in the nation, Notre Dame. Don't fish. Unnecessary. All right, well, we'll talk about it when we get back. It's going to be annoying, whatever. But before we go, since we're talking college football, we have to talk high school football. So tell us about Friday nights, Adam.
All right, tomorrow's a big night. Friday Night Clash brought to you by Woodward Sports, The Prep, and Planet Fitness. We are going to be broadcasting Chippewa Valley, the #1 team in the state, versus Macomb, Dakota. It's at Macomb, Dakota. And we'll be doing a halftime kick to win $10,000. You must follow Woodward Sports on our social media to qualify. Why we're doing this? We're trying to highlight all the great high school students, the athletes, and the student sections. It's a great vibe. It'll be streaming on our platforms starting at 9 p.m. And don't miss out. It'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We'll see you Friday. Chippewa Valley.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning in to the Morning Wood. Happy to have you here on a beautiful Thursday. All right. So, Twitter map showed, whatever a Twitter map is, I think it's like a Twitter poll type thing, but it shows like the entire nation. You know what I'm saying? So, based on this map, it viewed Notre Dame as the most overrated college football team in America. I agree that they are overrated, but the most overrated, I don't know. I think it could be a stretch, but I want to hear what these guys have to say. So let's start with Jeff.
Yes, they're definitely overrated, and I'll put it like this. They almost gave up 400 yards rushing in 2 games. 2 games. It doesn't matter who's behind center or who's running the ball. They're going to give up yards. They give up almost 50, 60 points in 2 games. That's concerning. You don't want to see them give up 29 to Toledo, barely sneaking away, going into OT versus Florida State. I know Florida State's a respectable program, but nonetheless, man, they're barely slipping by in the past 2 games, and I think that's concerning because that tells the tale of what's going to happen when you go up against Wisconsin September 25th. Like that's where we'll really start to see are they legit? Can you beat good teams? And because right now it doesn't look good. So right now I can see exactly why people would say they're overrated. I would love to see how they shape up because eventually they're going to get probably obliterated by a team with a good rush attack, along with a good talented players. Because Toledo, they were able to get success on the ground, but either their quarterback or their defense couldn't hold up. So get a program who could pound the rock and do the rest. I think they're in some deep waters, Adam. So I agree. I mean, they're overrated at this point. 2-0, 2 very not respectable wins. Wasn't impressed, but nonetheless they are undefeated. So, but they're overrated.
Well,
definitely.
Let's start with a trend that I've seen in Notre Dame coaching over the years. You've seen Charlie Weiss, now Brian Kelly. Round-shaped individuals.
Oh no!
So I got to bring it up. They have a tendency to hire overweight head coaches. I think it's good. They're an equal opportunity.
Brian Kelly is not that big. I don't even like Brian Kelly like that, but he's not that big of a dude.
I couldn't help myself. Anyways, to get to the actual topic, they are overrated and the most overrated. They've been at the college football playoff so many years because they had a cakewalk schedule and finished 1 loss or undefeated, and then they got blown out by an actual football team, and they were embarrassing. Remember Manti Te'o in the national championship game? They got blown out, 47-3? It was embarrassing. Go look at all their college football playoff games they've played. It's been ugly. There's always, this is the year. Notre Dame's going to look good. They're going to give them the run for their money. No, the games are too easy for all the other teams. Notre Dame is so overrated, and they need to be in a conference so you can actually evaluate them against good teams. They don't deserve to be in the top top 20 right now. They need to be about 21-22 given their first 2 games of the season. They look awful. They held on by the skin of their tail. They barely got by the first 2 games. They didn't look impressive at all. Defensively, they look god-awful. So you could just imagine how they'll look against a very good team in college football. They're gonna allow 60 points. It's over with. I don't like this at all. They are overrated. I don't understand how they cannot be. Kennedy, you defend your school here.
Listen.
How are they not overrated? Give me one good reason.
No, I said they are overrated right now, this year.
No, they've been overrated for almost 10 years.
That's a stretch.
They're dodging Michigan, a Michigan team that's not even all that great. They stopped playing Michigan. The only reason they're relevant is because of the NBC deal that they have. And that is it.
No, that Peacock stuff is hurting them.
I want to see them versus Cincinnati October 2nd. Like, the next couple games, there'll be better games for them. We'll get a bigger sample size. Like Wisconsin, they got Cincinnati, Virginia Tech. There's a couple of respectable teams. But
yeah, I mean, these past 2 games have definitely been ugly and tough to watch and not good for them. Like, almost losing to Toledo was single-handedly the worst thing I'd ever had to go through, being from Toledo and also being at Notre Dame as a Notre Dame fan.
Ryan, what are you doing here? What are you doing, Ryan? You play who is on your schedule? Question mark. Overrated, maybe, but they are 2-0. They will be in the top 10 at the end of the season.
Oof.
Okay.
That's a
Notre
big ask
Dame
right
played
now.
the 2 easiest games on their schedule, realistically, to start the year.
Who makes their schedules too?
They make their schedule the same every single year. Why aren't they playing in Oklahoma?
It's like the NFL.
Why aren't they playing in Georgia? Why aren't they even playing in Michigan? Go play Michigan. Go play a night game in Ann Arbor. Notre Dame is overrated, and the only reason they're relevant is because their brand is so powerful. They're an independent school, which means they aren't held accountable for a conference championship, which they would struggle to achieve in the ACC, the Pac-12, or the Big Ten. They're overrated. They can just get out of my face. They don't deserve to be in the top 15, let alone the top 20. I think they should have fallen out of the top 20. They should be at 21-22. They've got a lot to prove over the season. Joey, it is a judgment-free zone, but not when I'm in the building. So we're judging everybody. But
all right, so based on this map, do you guys want to know who was also on the map of most overrated?
I can give you... How many teams were there in total? Like relevant teams.
Relevant teams?
Yeah. Like teams that people are like, oh, wow, really?
I'd say like 4.
Okay, so I'm going to say Notre Dame, Michigan, Texas, and USC.
Okay, so behind Notre Dame, 23 states said they were the most overrated football team.
Okay.
12 states said North Carolina was this.
How is
most
North
overrated.
Carolina overrated? They're not even a football program. They just have Sam Howell. That's it. Yeah, they were 10th coming into the year, but it's because they have one of the best quarterback prospects in this upcoming season, who looked awful in the first game.
Yeah.
So how are they overrated? They were taken out of the top 25 immediately. Okay, who's the next team?
The next team who had 4 states vote for them was Wisconsin.
How is Wisconsin overrated? I don't even know what's happening right now. This doesn't make any sense to me. They got it all right on the Notre Dame thing.
Yeah,
They've got
everything else are just pulling out.
All right, what else?
All right, the next with 2 states was Clemson.
How is Clemson overrated?
We just acknowledge the fact. Whatever.
No, do it, Jeff.
I mean, we talk about how bad Clemson, at least looked in the first game. They're going to bounce back, but yeah, I don't know about overrated. I don't know.
All right, the next had 2 states as well, and that was Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is not overrated. They're accurately rated.
Yeah.
They have talent every single season. They're in the running to go undefeated every single season. If they win one game and win the Big 12, they're likely in the college football playoff. Yes, Oklahoma looked dodgy, but I have to say, I'm concerned for Oklahoma with them moving to the SEC. Like, they're going to need to get bigger and stronger, not just athletic like the way they're built now. And that's why they've struggled. It's because their defense doesn't really hold up when they play against the good teams. And right now, what was the team that Oklahoma played early on that gave them a run for their money? Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane.
Tulane almost dropped 40 on Oklahoma. What the heck is that? Alabama or Clemson or Georgia, any of these teams going to do to this team? I don't like it. The defense has always been the problem with Oklahoma. So, if they're on the overrated list, okay. I don't hate it. I like it more than I like the Wisconsin and whatever the first team was.
Okay, and then I'll name for you all of the teams that won one state's most overrated vote.
Okay.
We've got LSU, Oregon.
Not overrated. Not overrated.
Texas.
Overrated.
UCLA.
Overrated.
USC.
Oh, wait. Let me take back. Prior to this year, UCLA overrated. This year, they came out swinging. I like what Chip Kelly's doing at UCLA, so I'll give them they're accurately rated right now.
Okay.
I like what he's doing.
USC.
Overrated. But
And-
one of the best jobs in the country, whether people like to admit it or not.
And the last one, Washington.
Overrated.
All right. Well, that's
Well,
all.
no, I mean, they're just garbage right now. They're 0-2. So maybe they're overrated going into the year, but now everybody knows what they are, a garbage football team. So we'll take it there. Michigan's not overrated for once, which is good to know.
I'm surprised there was no Ohio State on that list.
Huh?
I said I'm surprised there was
Why
no.
would Ohio State be overrated? They've been undefeated or one-loss team for the last 7-8 years. I mean...
But that last loss. I'm saying this poll just happened.
Yeah, I don't think Ohio State's overrated. I think they're a team that might win 9-10 games this year and contend for the Big Ten championship.
I hope you're correct.
It's not awful. Awful to their standards, but...
Right.
I bet
I think that's
Michigan,
just what I'm used to.
Michigan would kill to be in a Big Ten title game. So
That's true.
We'll see.
That's true.
We will see.
We will see.
All right. I actually wanted to bring up one more thing, Kennedy, before we moved on.
Okay.
Regarding Notre Dame. Jeff, is Notre Dame a college football playoff team? I've already given my answer. I said before the season kicked off that Ohio State and Notre Dame would be the two teams that were in last year's college football playoff that wouldn't make it back this year. Your take on Notre Dame overall going forward? They've looked sluggish out of the gate.
You're only going to go as far as Jack Cohn could take you. I don't believe they're going to make it to the college football playoffs. So, no, to answer your question, I don't. I think last year they made it. It happened. They lost. This year, I think it's just different, and there's other teams that are going to arise, and no, they're not going to make it.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
when
I'm
we
with
get
you,
back,
Jeff.
I love football. I can't stop talking about football. We got to talk about the 2020 playoff teams that lost in Week 1. What are the odds that they make a push into the playoffs this season after losing their first game? Who's going to bounce back? Who isn't? But before we go, Kennedy, I do have a question for you. I'm going to let you take the floor and answer this one question from me on Notre Dame.
Okay.
All right. Do you expect this team to win 10 games this year?
No. Not based on the rest of their schedule. It should be easy, but based on the first two games I've seen, that should have been their almost easiest. Absolutely not. Their O-line is struggling without Liam Eichenberg being there. He's with the Dolphins now. Congrats to him, but I miss him on that O-line. The defense looked horrible, literally horrendous, and I don't like the two quarterback system that we've got going on right now. It worked enough, but it's not going to be sustainable for the rest of the year. So they've got to, to me, the QB situation is still a big question mark for them, and they've got to figure it out. And yeah, the defense just was pretty ugly, and we've got no one there to help us out. So yeah, that's my take on Notre Dame right now. It's sad. I miss them being good, but coming up
never
next. Good. Okay, relax. Coming up next, we've got to talk about those playoffs teams that lost in Week 1, like Adam said. But before we go, I need to hear about our friends at Lady Jane's.
So, guys, listen, we're a simple bunch, and we like Sunday football in the feel of a TV remote in the palm of our hand. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. You can walk in, sit down, and before you know it, your hair is game ready. Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime because it's wicked awesome.
Opa! Introducing Papa Romano's new Greek pizza, a tasty blend of bold Greek flavors and Mediterranean toppings, including feta cheese and Greek dressing. Get a large Greek pizza for a limited time for $16.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Happy to have you here on a beautiful Thursday. 1 day away from Friday. Let's do it, people. All right. There were some 2020 playoff teams that lost in week 1 here. I want to know which of these teams surprised you guys and who you think will bounce back this week. Let's start with you, Jeff.
Well, the easy answer for me out of all the matchups this week, I think the Browns are going to bounce back the easiest because they're going against the Houston Texans. I believe they'll come out and get the win. You saw they looked great against Kansas City up until Kansas City just turned that switch on and Patrick Mahomes did what he did. But I think the Browns will be the most easy lock to bounce back. Yeah, you could say the Packers versus the Lions at Lambeau Field's another one. You got Bills and Dolphins, which the Bills, they did upset me in their debut. A lot of people had them going far in the playoffs. I still do. But I just thought they'd start better in the season. Obviously, they got their worst loss out the way. Now they can just move on and hopefully get better. And what a great way to start. You got Miami Dolphins week 2. I think they'll come out and hand them that fat L, but the Kansas City Chiefs in the Ravens game, I mean, come on. The Ravens probably will go 0-2, which is kind of weird to say that. Lamar Jackson, he's going to be 0-2. Colts and Seahawks, that's a tough one to call. But if I had to pick 2 locks that I'd bet on, it'd be the Browns and Texans. Browns are going to give them a spanking. And then the Packers and Lions, which sadly, I think the Lions will fight. But listen, Aaron Rodgers is going to bounce back, and he might he's going to be delivering an L on Monday Night Football. So those are the 2 teams to me, Browns and Texans, Packers and Lions.
All right, of the 8 teams that lost, so you have the Packers, Bills, Ravens, Browns, Titans, Washington Football Team, Colts, and Bears. Of the 8, which teams make the playoffs, in your opinion?
Wow, okay, let me go down this list. So
start with the Packers.
Yes.
Do the Packers make the playoffs this year?
Yes, I think they make the playoffs.
Okay, so I got them as a check mark for you. The Bills?
Yes, obviously.
Okay. Ravens?
I want to say yes, but it's tough. Yes.
Give me an answer.
I'll put a yes.
All right, Browns?
Yes.
Okay, Titans?
Dang. They underperformed. You know what? Yes. I don't know.
Washington?
God, that division's so bad. Yes.
Okay.
And then
so they're winning their division, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say
Colts?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Okay, and Bears, no, I'd imagine.
You know what? I think Dallas might have a good chance to win that NFC East, but I want to say no to Washington. But
you want to say no, yes or no?
Say no.
All
Put
right,
no.
Cool.
The Colts,
right,
Bears, and
no?
Washington. No, on the Bears.
Okay, cool. So we completely disagree on this list. So which? Let me answer Kennedy's questions first. Which loss surprised you the most? The Packers. They got beat down. Nobody was expecting Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to walk into a neutral site field and just get embarrassed. Which team will bounce back this week? I think Washington is going to bounce back this week. They're playing tonight against New York. I think that's a great matchup for them. I think the Bills are going to bounce back. It's a tough game, but you know what? The Packers playing the Lions, they're going to be able to bounce back. Here's where I'm at. You said the Packers will make the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs as well, so I'll agree with you. The Bills, they're my Super Bowl pick.
Of course.
Of course they're going to make the playoffs. The Ravens, no, they're not making the playoffs.
And I'm not surprised. That was a hard one for me to say.
The Browns are making the playoffs. They're winning their division.
Yes.
The Titans are not making the playoffs. They're not winning their division.
Wait, did you say the Browns aren't making the playoffs?
I'm sorry, the Titans. The Browns are winning their
playoffs
division.
Okay.
The
so
Titans
we have 3.
are not going to win their division, and they're not going to make the playoffs.
So they're going to underperform. Gotcha.
Yep, they're out of it this year. Washington, I think they don't make the playoffs. I think Dallas wins the division.
Heineke's is not.
The Colts, I believe, potentially can win their division along with Houston. Don't count out Houston. I was very naive to say Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence were going to walk over Houston, and boy, did they prove me wrong. And I'm going to take Houston seriously until they give me reason not to. It looks like they have an extra, something in their step. They look good. Let's keep in mind, before Brian O'Brien got fired last year when they started 0-4, this was a playoff team. The roster hasn't, been abomished too much outside of DeAndre Hopkins really leaving. So I think that the AFC South is going to be a tricky division this year, and I don't think the Bears make the playoffs either. But out of all these teams, the Bills, I believe, and the Browns are probably the locks of everybody to not only contend and win their division, but make the playoffs. Jeff, I want your take on the Packers heading into Monday night.
They're completely
expectations.
Yeah,
the
expectation. It's a dominant win. They want to come out and even you just heard Aaron. Either whatever show you watch, Aaron goes on his Pat McAfee interviews. He talks about how going into that game, the team wasn't just focused. It was a different vibe. Something was off. The energy level was low. They went out. They played absolutely horrible. Got beat by 35. That's not going to happen back-to-back weeks. They're going to come in more focused, more locked in. They know what they need to correct, and that's the expectation I have, is to come out and get it going early. Get some completions to Devontae Adams early, get Aaron Rodgers throwing touchdowns early, because they want to get in a rhythm early. Because, like I said, last year, top 5 in yards, total yards, and after seeing game number 1, they're not on track to do that. So they want to get on track defensively and then stick it to the Lions. That's what the expectation is.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they lost to a very good defensive front in the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a game they probably should have won. But why I like the loss is they lost to a good football team, and it's really a wake-up call. Like, hey, we're expecting to win, and contend for a Super Bowl this year. And if we're losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers like that, well, we got a lot of work to do. So I think it's an early wake-up call for Buffalo. I think Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they'll be just fine in that offense. They'll be dynamic enough. I think they're going to be just fine. The division is going to be difficult to win, though. I think 11, 12 wins that division. Miami's going for it. I still think even if New England lost their first game, which is fine, I still think they're in the running for it. And you can't count out the Jets just to beat their own teams in the division. So you don't want to lose any. Everybody needs to beat the Jets, right? And the teams that do lose to the Jets in that division are the teams that probably won't succeed and win the division. So that's interesting. I think the Ravens are done. Lamar Jackson is not going to be able to carry this team. Marquise Brown and Sammy Watkins are not enough through the air with Mark Andrews to have any team take you seriously. Lamar Jackson, he's evasive, dynamic, so many great things, but he's just not there when it comes to being an actual quarterback. And what I mean by being an actual quarterback is I ask you to drop 30, 40 times back, and you don't make turnovers, you don't force anything, and you're able to keep me in the football game enough where we at least have a chance. Lamar Jackson doesn't give me that. He does win a lot of football games. I think he's very dynamic. He's a very good football player. But what happens when his legs go? Look at Cam Newton. His athleticism went away, and what happened? He's out of the league now. I'm nervous for Lamar Jackson moving forward. The Browns, I love a lot. I'm not worried about them. They have the best offensive line in the NFL. The Titans worry me. This is my problem with Ryan Tannehill. You can win games with Ryan Tannehill. You can win games with Tua Tagovailoa. You can win games with Jared Goff. But these borderline average quarterbacks can't take you to the next level. And when things hit the fan, these quarterbacks are nowhere to be found. They're unable to overcome adversity. They're unable to beat the good teams away. They're unable to beat the good teams at home even when they're down. And that's why you'll never win anything significant with a Jared Goff, with a Tua Tagovailoa. Even though it's maybe a little early, maybe I'm being a little harsh on Tua, but I'll be okay to give him time before I really stand and put my flag on that. But I'm definitely putting my flag down on Ryan Tannehill, on Tua Tagovailoa. Quarterbacks like even a Matt Ryan to an extent, he's out of his prime now. You can't really rely on him. These quarterbacks that Kirk Cousins, not interested in having this conversation. Baker, get him out of here. I don't care. I can surround Baker with everything he needs. He can't deliver me what I need most. And for me, that's what's going to be a problem for Cleveland moving forward. Washington, we'll see what Heineke turns out to be. They're in the market for a quarterback. Ideally, they go into tank mode, get their quarterback, and I think in a year they can be a playoff team just given they improve at quarterback. They've got Gibson. They've got the O-line. They've got the pass rush. They've got an okay secondary. I like Gibson. I like McLaurin. Logan Thomas. You just put in the right quarterback. That's a good football team. I like Indianapolis, although their passing game scares me.
And can he stay healthy?
Can he stay healthy? I think the AFC South is up for grabs, and it may be a 9-10 win team that gets it. Mm-hmm. It may be a 9-win team. And then the Bears, I'm not interested. Even with Justin Fields back, they're not winning their division, and they're not making the playoffs. They barely got in last year. I keep them away from me. I'm not interested about talking about the Bears. So, Jeff, of all the teams on that list, who do you expect to go downhill from here? Tremendously. We're talking like poor season. If you had to give me, there's 8 teams on the list. Just give me 3.
I'll go. Obviously, the Ravens. They got Kansas City this week. It's not going to get any prettier for them. So there's that. But also the you can't say the Packers. They're going to go up against the Lions. honestly, there's pretty favorable matchups. So I honestly can't even give you 3 for sure that's going to have a bad. Tennessee, who do they have this week? Tennessee Titans, they play they'll play the Seahawks. So you know what I mean? Everything can get worse for the Titans as well. They can go 0-2, possibly 0-3. So if I had to say, it could be Titans, Ravens, and that's probably it. Maybe the Colts if they can't string along some wins. They got the Rams this week, so if they go 0-2, man, those are 3 teams that we all predicted at least would have pretty good records. So the fact that they're all 0-2.
I think 3 teams that are just going to fall into really an abyss are going to be Chicago, obviously.
Oh, yes, Chicago.
Tennessee and Baltimore. I don't know why Tennessee just doesn't look like Tennessee of last year. Maybe it's just one game. And
New offensive coordinator,
I
too.
may be overreacting, but you did lose your offensive coordinator. He went and took the job in L.A. And your defense, Vrabel, it didn't look all that great. And offensively, it was even worse. And to say your offense was worse than your defense, given the talent you have on offense, is a big problem. So I'm not sure how I feel about the Titans this year. It's really bothering me. Their Week 1 performance against Arizona, they made Arizona out to be way better than even I expected Arizona to be. Arizona is not a world beater. They're going to be contending for their division. Yes, they're so dynamic on both sides of the football. But I don't think they're a top 5 team in the NFL. No, I have them at 8 or I believe 9, one of the two. But regardless, like, they're a good football team, and they dominated Week 1. But you can't lose a football game like that. You just can't. And I'm afraid Baltimore is going to lose a game very similar to how Tennessee lost against Kansas City this week. I think Kansas City is going to roll over Baltimore, and it's not going to be pretty. And we're going to be asking a lot of questions of not only Lamar Jackson, but John Harbaugh. Like, what are you going to decide this year? Yes, you lost your running backs, but Lamar clearly can't move the ball downfield consistently as a quarterback.
And that defense is falling apart.
And if teams are stacking the box for him and he can't make the throws, you're just going to be in deep waters the whole season. I'm nervous for Baltimore. I'm nervous for Tennessee, and I'm nervous for Chicago. I don't think any of these teams sniff the playoffs. Kennedy, of all the teams on this list, I know you're a huge fan of the Bears. I'm joking.
I was going to say
of all
that,
the teams,
probably.
Of all the teams on this list, give me 2 teams you expect to rebound and 2 teams you expect to just fall over.
I think the Bears will fall over. I could see a resurgence with the Packers, I suppose. I don't want to see it, but I mean, that was just, the Packers looked so ugly that I can't imagine that it would keep going that way, or that Rodgers would want to leave his legacy. You know, I don't think he would ruin his legacy like that. That was just so bad. The Browns will most certainly come back, in my humble opinion. I like the Browns this year. And I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say that another one's going to just fall off. The Bears are really the only ones I can give you confidently.
Fair enough.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, that's what I'll give you. Coming up next, we're talking more college football, so stick around for that. But before we go, Adam's favorite, we got to talk about BetQL.
All right, BetQL, guys. What more do I have to say? I love it. Listen, BetQL, and you're talking to a guy that bets basically daily, especially when football's on television. If you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook, you need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Plus, their platform has all the data and analytics you'd ever need. Please head to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. It just depends what phone you have. Download their app, search BetQL, and use code WSN. You get 25% off your monthly subscription. I'm subscribed to it. You're basically paying $2-3 a day to make better informed decisions on the $20, $30, $40 you're betting every single day. I'm not following why we wouldn't spend the extra money to just ensure that, hey, I'm really confident in this bet. It helped me win a ton of money on Monday with my Sunday-Monday parlay. And I'm hoping tonight it gets me what I'm asking for from the Washington football team. I'm feeling really confident about it. So download the BetQL app today, and we'll see you right after the break.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
1-0.
Mack.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here on a beautiful Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. Tonight is Thursday night football. So much to be happy about and look forward to. But we have to talk more college football. I want to know the 4 teams that you guys believe will make the college football playoffs, and which 2 teams do you think are just going to barely miss the playoffs? So, Adam, let's start with you.
All right, let's start with number 1. I think Alabama's going to run the table this year. I don't think they lose a game. They're probably going to beat a Georgia in the SEC championship game. So Alabama's my number 1. I think they run the table. I don't think anybody is even near their level overall as a football team. It's going to be difficult to beat Bama this year. It's always difficult to beat Alabama. My number 2 is going to come as a surprise to most people. I am going to have Oregon at number 2. I think Oregon... Actually, I got to take this back. I do. I think... This is tough for me. I think Clemson finishes 2nd. I think they run the table the rest of the way and they win the ACC. I think Georgia finishes 3rd. And we get a rematch of Georgia-Clemson. Because keep in mind, Georgia only beat Clemson 10-3. It's not a bad loss to lose to one of the best teams in the nation, and they just lost to Alabama barely in the SEC title game, which is what I expect to happen. So I think 2 and 3, you're going to get Clemson and Georgia. However, 2 and 3, it doesn't matter, vice versa. I could care less. And then my 4th is going to be Oregon. I think Oregon runs the table. Even if they lose one game in the Pac-12 and then they go on and win the Pac-12 championship, it doesn't matter because they beat an Ohio State team that is likely to finish the year 10-2 with a Big Ten championship, or they lost in the Big Ten championship to maybe an Iowa. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But those are my 4 teams: Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Oregon. And then the teams that I have barely missing out are going to be Oklahoma at 5. I think they drop a game. And even if they win the Big 12 with 1 loss, it's not enough because of how poorly they've started the year. They haven't shown that they're a very good football team. Now, they could change that. They could dominate the rest of the way, but I'm not really interested in that. You were supposed to dominate the first 2 games, but we'll leave it there. And then the team that I think finishes 6th is going to be 2 teams. I'm not sure yet. It'll be either Ohio State or Iowa. It's going to be one of the 2. Whichever team comes out as a Big Ten champ, I think is going to finish 6th. And then my 7 and 8 are going to be Texas A&M. And then my shocker here, I think Cincinnati finishes 8th on the list at the end of the year. So that's my list, Jeff.
I got a similar one. Obviously, we both mutually agree with the Alabama. But Bryce Young, how many first 5-star recruits they lost? They just keep getting better. They got Bryce Young. They still got those big behemoths at that offensive line. So they'll be fine. You got number 1. Number 2, I'm gonna go with. This is tough. You know what? This is going to sound crazy. I'll just stick with Georgia. I think Georgia's good enough to get there at the number 2 spot. I think they win out the rest of the way. But one team I do want to throw in there that you did not have is Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma makes it. And I think they get better as the season progresses. I just checked the schedule. They don't really have any tough opponents besides... they can win out, definitely, the rest of the way. They got Iowa State at the end of the year. But I think they can win that game. So... I got Oklahoma in there. And my 4th team that would squeeze in, I actually have Clemson. I have them missing out because I believe Oregon, if they get 1 loss by the end of the year, listen, they beat Ohio State. I think they climb in there. I don't know how much faith you have in Oregon throwing the ball, but they certainly can run the ball. C.J. Verdell is he's a serious man, and I think those are the 4. I got Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Oregon. I think Clemson just misses out. I would put Ohio State in there, but something about me just says C.J. Stroud, man. They got Michigan State, they got Michigan, they got tougher games towards the end of the year. I think they'll just miss out, but yeah, I'm confident with Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Oregon. Whether you order them or not, as long as Alabama's number 1, the rest can fall how they fall. So I'm confident with that 4. Other teams, you can see... I can see an Iowa slipping out. They got, right now on ESPN, they have a 9% chance to squeeze in there. People are voting, but 75% voters have Alabama. So that's the only lock in there that we really know of. Everything else, we're going to have to wait and see. But nonetheless, their schedules are easy. Oklahoma, they can win out. Oregon can win out. Clemson, I think that loss early on is going to... I don't know how much DJ will struggle. Obviously, we saw him struggle in those first games, but he had a great season last year. So it's not like he's learning how to play the position. Like he played and started in games. He played well. So, I got that's the only different thing I have from you is Oklahoma. You have, I believe, Clemson.
Yep.
So that's really the only difference we have. I just think Clemson's one loss will come back to bite them.
I think Clemson's one loss. If they run the table, let's just go through the list. Alabama runs the table. They're in, right? Oregon, I think they can lose the game and still make it because they beat Ohio State early. That's a signature win.
Yes.
Oklahoma, what's their signature win?
If they don't drop a win,
Even if they go undefeated, I am willing to sit up here and make an argument that a one-loss Georgia and a one-loss Pac-12 champion Oregon should be in over.
I think they'll be in
Oklahoma.
with them. Yeah,
then I would take a one-loss Clemson ACC champion over the undefeated Big 12 champion. Why? Who'd they play?
I
Clemson
agree.
lost to one of the best teams in college in Georgia.
So you have faith Clemson's going to go out and win out.
If Clemson wins out.
If they win out.
Yeah, if they win out. Just, I'm trying to get this figured out right now.
Because they have an extremely tougher schedule. We can at least agree on that.
Of course. Well, that's why they deserve to get in over an undefeated Oklahoma.
But if they have, how many losses are you willing to give Clemson before you say they're not in?
Only one.
Okay, I think they get 2. So I think there's another loss in here.
I think they bounce back. I think they're on the 11-1 football team. I think they run the table, they win everything, and they win the ACC. Georgia, I think one loss they get in. Even if they have 2 losses, I still think they could get in. I think the best case scenario for Georgia is even if they get 2 losses, they play Bama in the championship game, they win it, and then Bama and Georgia are both in. I think that's their only way if they're a 2-loss team. But I think Georgia, if they only lose 1 game, they're fine. They're more than fine. Oregon, I think they run the table. Even if they lose 1 game, like I said earlier, they beat Ohio State.
It's huge.
That's a signature win. Nobody on this list, not Oklahoma, not Iowa, nobody's going to have that win. Not even Clemson. Oregon's got to be there, so we'll see. I think DJ recovers. He was a Heisman voter or a Heisman frontrunner to start the year. I think Clemson retires. I believe in not retires. I believe they recover. I think Dabo knows what he's doing. They'll recover just fine. Is there anybody on my list you don't think is going to make it?
I mean, I was just going to say, like, if Clemson makes it, I'm not going to be surprised, obviously. Like, their prestige program. And DJ played well last year. It's not like we haven't seen anything out of DJ. The guy can play football. I just thought they started so far defensively. They looked good against Georgia, only allowed 10 points. But down the stretch, hopefully they can stay undefeated. That's the only thing. I'm not really surprised with who you picked. It's really about, I think we mutually agree Ohio State isn't in there. You got Iowa who's not in there. It's really just the Oklahoma and Clemson, and you can pick what you want. It's all hearsay, but yes, Oklahoma hasn't beaten anybody. But if they go undefeated, you can't deny them an entrance into that playoff. So, I don't really have a problem with anything you picked. It's not like you're picking guys that are absurd. Like Clemson's not a terrible program. I mean, if you say they're going to be bad this season, you didn't watch game 1. You didn't watch them against Georgia, so it is what it is.
Their defense looked good.
Yes, 10.
There's
10
nothing wrong
points.
with their defense. Jeff, if I kind of like taking a spin on things. If there was one team that we didn't mention that makes a push and gets into the top 4, who would it be?
Honestly, and this sounds ridiculous, but it's teams that aren't playing well that are known for. I could see in Ohio State. These guys they run over their schedule. Like Ohio State in the Big Ten is the big brother. They're going against Michigan. They got Michigan State, but they have better overall talent. I know they lost to Oregon, but who else? I mean, you could say Penn State.
2 teams you're willing to go out on a limb and say, you know what, I could see this happening. If I told you, let's say the 2 teams I give you, it's like, oh, okay, I could see that. Like, what 2 teams could make the college football playoff that we didn't mention here?
The 2 that I have out, I mean, God.
Already Ohio State.
Penn State looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know. Notre Dame's 2-0, but like how legit are they? Iowa.
So don't worry about Notre Dame. They're not making garbage.
Iowa, I could see making a push, but I mean, yeah,
right,
Florida.
Well, my 2 teams are going to shock you.
Who's your 2 teams?
I think UCLA to start is a team that could make a run for it, and if they beat an Oregon,
of course,
there's your statement win. And then another team that's very close, I think A&M at 7. A&M could shock a lot of people this year. They're a good football team, good head coach, good program. They've stayed relevant. We all remember Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, Sumlin. Like, it was all great. And then they moved on, and, well, they're still a really good football team. They're doing a great job recruiting. It wouldn't surprise me if Texas A&M kind of broke up the whole SEC right now, and if UCLA and Chip Kelly really made a magical run.
What a story for Chip Kelly, man.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised before we head to break, I do want to touch on Michigan just a little bit. We'll talk about them more tomorrow and Michigan State, but Michigan pulled 25th. We talked about it earlier this week. Is it too? They shouldn't have been ranked. Listen, this is a team that's been overhyped for the last 5 years. Well, maybe 4, because I think the first 2-3 years under Harbaugh were legitimate. They were legit a good football team. But here we are now. They're 2-0. They beat a Washington. They beat a Western. Nothing significant, but now they're getting into the meat and potatoes of their schedule heading into the next 3-4 weeks. So now you're going to learn a lot about Michigan. Jeff, do you see a scenario playing out in your head where Michigan is actually in a Big Ten title game this year?
It honestly depends who's behind center. I don't know. I like Cade McNamara, but you can only go as far as Cade can take you. And we saw it last game. What do you have, 15 pass attempts? They're going to have to rely on this run game. But as a team, they're legit on defense. I mean, they got some dogs over there. They got dogs in the backfield. Cade is Cade. But if you start J.J. McCarthy midway through the season, he's tearing up his freshman season. Never count him out. They don't have a lot of tape on J.J. McCarthy, and he's going to shock a lot of people. But as long as it depends. Really, it's on Cade. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And if they can keep this rushing attack going towards the end of the season into those big games against an Ohio State, can you run the ball efficiently? That's what it comes down to, because it's only going to help Jim Harbaugh and Cade McNamara if you're able to run it efficiently. This offensive line's got to keep doing work. They've been doing it so far, but that's really that's the situation I see. If they can keep running this ball and Cade can just be a game manager and do what he does well, I think they'll shock a lot of people. But if that rush attack goes away and they're putting the ball in Cade's hands, telling us to win the football game, you better start looking at number 9, J.J. McCarthy back there to start, because it's going to go downhill.
For me, it would surprise me if Michigan were representing their side of the Big Ten Conference in the Big Ten title game. It would actually surprise me.
It surprised a lot of people,
like,
too.
out of all the years, it was this year. It wasn't year 1 under Harbaugh. Well, not really year 1, but year 2 and 3. You couldn't make the hump and beat Ohio State. But, you don't know. I still think Ohio State has another game, maybe even 2 to lose throughout the year. It could be Michigan. You don't know. A one-loss Michigan getting into a Big Ten title game, I mean, I don't see it happening. But
never know.
Based on where they're at right now, I think they're going to be good enough to start 4-0. And then the 5th win against Wisconsin is going to be difficult. Then Nebraska, that should be easy. And now you got the Michigan States, the Penn States, the Illinois, the Ohio State. Okay, now you got to prove it. So we'll see. I don't think Ohio State is going to be able to recover losing Dwayne Haskins the year before Justin Fields, and then losing Justin Fields last year. It's just a lot to overcome. Those are 2 NFL quality quarterbacks. Is C.J. Stroud an NFL quarterback? No, he's too raw. He's still a prospect. So he's not one of the college football elites. And that's what Ohio State has had the last 2 years, and that's why Ryan Day has enjoyed the last 2 years since Urban Meyer left. But, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I doubt it. I do doubt it. Kennedy, what's next?
Next is Fish's Facts, my favorite part of the day. Fish will be coming out of the fishbowl again, sitting right here, taking my spot. So I'm sure that means he'll feel extra sassy today. So make sure you stick around for Fish's Facts. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at Levels.
All right, guys, this Friday, Joik Bell, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and Big D Energy are going to be down at Levels in Centerline. Big D Energy will be broadcasting live and saving you money. Come out and meet the guys, plus save 10% on flour, edibles, and more. When you mention Woodward Sports at any Levels location, we'll be broadcasting at Levels, located on Sherwood between 9 and 10 Mile in Centerline. Come experience what everybody is talking about at Levels. We'll see you Friday, and again, mention Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
You like to win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time?
Then watch as we turn this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
Watch the Call Sam Chopper Shop on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Is it time?
Yeah, it is. Fish!
Go fish.
Fish Facts.
It's fish!
All right, hello everybody. We are live from the couch today instead of the booth as our usual day. Today is Thursday Night Football. We do have a college game if any of you are interested. Ohio versus Louisiana Lafayette.
No.
Most of you will be watching the Giants and Washington football team tonight, which it should be a good game. NFC East is always fun because there's always 5 wins with 1 game left in the season. Speaking of fun, we're not going to Japan, by the way. We may visit Japan next week. We're going to Switzerland, where
Lord.
this is, I don't know what this is, like water pole vaulting or pole vaulting over a river. But this is pretty impressive. He's got to get to the top of the pole, obviously, to be able to make the jump.
Do you think
and
you
he
could
does
do that,
make
Fish?
the jump.
Could you
now,
do that?
I don't know if they're measuring anything, or if they're just camera people.
Art, could you do that?
Oh, no way.
How does
I
he
think
land?
Fish could. I think you could do that, buddy.
How do you land successfully? That guy just ate it after climbing. Like, what's the outcome of that? You just get hurt?
Didn't look hurt to me. It's like, what, 20 feet? 25 feet?
If I'm up there and I'm climbing, all right, I need to take a landing, I'm not using sand. All right, sand I feel like is not the way to go. You need like some cushion, some like blow up stuff, maybe like one of those things the gymnastics use where you jump in, it's like a big blow.
It looks
Why
like they
sand?
it looks like they had a makeshift beach.
I'm not landing on sand, man.
Well, what do you want him to land on? Concrete?
A cushion, all right.
A cushion.
Do like those,
Okay.
like like you know, do the stunts? They jump into like the big cushion. Like, why
Listen,
you
this
just
isn't
sand?
Legends of the Hidden Temple. That's real life. That's real life.
You're not wrong, Art.
That is the great voice of Art in the booth. Hopefully the camera will be coming this week. Speaking of greatness and facts and cameras, this guy was caught on camera. Most strikeouts in a season in Blue Jays history is Robbie Ray. He had 233. 231 is A.J. Burnett in 2008. And Roger Clemens both times in 1997 and 1998 with 292 and 271.
That's crazy, man. Roger, I'm not taking anything away from any of those other guys, but Clemens, dude, 2 times, like that's impressive. That's like underrated.
That is very. And yesterday was Roberto Clemente Day, I believe.
Yep.
So good for him, and good for all of MLB. And speaking of MLB, leaders in winning percentage this year: Uez at 18-3. Bueller at 14-3, and Scherzer at 14-4. The Dodgers are trying to join the 1927 Yankees as the only team to ever have the top 3 pitchers in the MLB in winning percentage at the end of a season, minimum of 15 decisions. So, I mean, they've been in the World Series hunt for the past
The Dodgers
3 or
have
4
the best
years now.
payroll, the best players, the best everything. They're just so much better than everybody else. It's not even fair. It's not even fair. When Max Scherzer is like your 3rd or 4th pitcher in the rotation, you're fortunate. It's so dominant. It's so dominant.
Not even fair.
But they haven't won the World Series in years. So
They won it
they're
last
getting
year.
well, I know, but
I don't
the
care.
Rays,
No, well, now they're going to be like a team that can probably win 2 or 3 in the next 4 or 5 years.
That would be good to see.
Well, they're capable, Fish.
By the way, Tigers are going to make a run 2024.
20. Oh, okay.
Realistic.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't go 10-7
You should be
Tigers.
realistic about the Lions.
Wow.
10-7,
realistic
baby.
about the
I am
Lions.
realistic
10-7.
Shut up,
Fishy.
Art.
Okay.
You and your
10-7
limo.
Lions.
Hope you and your limo crash on Woodward. And the fire department doesn't put out the fire.
Oh my! How dare you?
Mid-February, the limo will be behind your head driving down. It might even crash into you.
Listen,
It's just getting more violent.
Listen,
All right.
when I spot the Woodward limo, this Lions limo on the expressway, I'm gonna set up a speed trap. All right, I'm gonna put those spikes in the floor, and I'm gonna make sure you guys fall off road.
Are you gonna use Matt Patricia's body?
I'm just gonna put
as
an
a
end to
speed
you
trap?
guys, and then I'm gonna
That's a
dig
speed
up
bump.
a grave.
Yeah,
That's a
speed
bump.
bump.
I'm gonna hide you guys. Whatever, not a speed bump. The ones with the spikes that take out your tires. Yeah, I'm going for the kill art.
Okay.
Are you
All right,
allowed
continue, Fish.
to? Are you authorized
Okay.
to use them? Aren't those police?
I do
only?
whatever I want, Fish. I have access to the black market. I can get whatever I
Hey,
want.
Adam, just remember, it's only week 1.
It is
We're
only
on week 2
one.
now.
I hate you guys.
It is only, and they play the Packers, who, by the way, the Packers got drilled to the Saints.
And what the Lions do? They got drilled by the Niners.
By 8.
By 8.
And oh, by the way,
Get
you were
out of here.
wowed.
That was a 30-plus
I was wowed?
Yes, you should have been.
No. I was wowed with how pathetic they looked
All
for
right,
58 minutes.
Real quick, Fish. We're going to get more from you tomorrow, but I just want to say before you move on to your next fact, real quick, give me a prediction right now. Lions or Packers. I figure what you're going to say.
We'll go Lions by 6.
Look at Art clapping in the booth. All right, go on with your
can't
facts.
stand this. Can we
go
move
on with
on?
your booth.
Next-
yeah,
next
go on
one,
with your
Fish.
facts.
We
Next
got
one.
last one. The Kansas City Royals over the last 7 games. Andrew Benintendi of the Royals has had 19 hits and 17 RBIs. He's the first MLB player to reach both of these numbers over a 7-game span since the Hall of Famer Bobby Doerr did it from June 7 to 13 in 1950.
Hey.
Maz's era.
Yeah, that is that is Maz's era. I wonder if he's a fan of the Kansas City Royals. I don't know. He's a fan of everybody, but
well, he's not a fan of teams in our division.
I'm joking.
Speaking of division, Lions are at the top of the division.
Not. No, they're not.
We have
the Vikings are. The Lions are second based on point differential.
Point differential. Did you watch Champions League yesterday? Speaking of point differential.
Oh my God.
You like that? You like that transition?
Good segue?
Yeah, it was good.
You disappoint me. We go out to birthdays today, and speaking of birthdays, say it's the 16th of September. I'm just saying, you call yourself a soccer fan. You didn't even know the World Cup was in America. That's a little sad.
I like how he goes, you call yourself a soccer fan, even though you never...
Fish, I don't pay attention to this stuff.
He
I
tells
don't.
you all the...
It's news. It beep, beep, pops up on your phone.
No, I don't get notifications. The only thing I care about
That's
is football.
the noise it makes, too. The beep boop.
We have
that's your
birthdays
ringtone, Fish?
today. Nick Jonas. It is his birthday.
Who cares?
Happy birthday, Nick Jonas.
You guys are awful. Who cares about Nick Jonas? Next.
Well, I only says his birthday because he's #1 on the most popular birthdays today, so that's why I picked him. And we have a birthday for basketball-related birthday. Aaron Gordon, 1995.
He's a bum.
Wait, who?
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron
He
Gordon.
just got paid. Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Lost the dunk contest a bunch of times, called it rigged.
Yeah, that's all he's done in his career.
Hey, but he's about to make $100 million in a couple of years.
Yeah, well, everybody makes $100 million in today's NBA. It's only a 12-man squad.
Call him what you want. Call him what you want.
Oh, he's a paid bum. I got to give him credit.
He's a paid bum. God, we'll see.
Isn't everyone a paid bum then?
I guess.
Not
I guess so,
everybody.
Fish.
Some people justify the dollars.
Everybody's a paid bum.
Can you name some people?
Yeah, your superstars, your stars, your role players. Like a Drew Holiday deserves to get paid, not an Aaron Gordon. That's just one example.
I get you.
Yeah,
Not Bryce Harper?
Bryce Harper's overrated.
Yeah, don't get him started.
I do agree with you on that. I was pissed when he took that deal. Those are the facts. We'll be back for tomorrow, which is Friday, Adam. Friday.
I know. Well, you know
Get
what? I don't
excited.
care about tomorrow because today is Thursday Night Football, and there's nothing more important going on today than Thursday Night Football. So let's just appreciate that for the moment. Before Kennedy gets back, Jeff, we're doing a little game here. Play, sit, or cut.
Okay.
Now, Kennedy, walk us through what our options are. Play, sit, or cut. I believe there's 2 options, correct?
There's 2 different scenarios that we've got popping here. We've got LeBron, KD, or Giannis. Who are you playing, who are you sitting, and who are you cutting?
LeBron, KD, and Giannis. Playing, sitting, and cutting?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm playing Giannis. I'm sitting LeBron, and I'm cutting KD. KD is unreliable, unavailable. Giannis is the most complete player, I'd say, in basketball right now, most dominant. And then LeBron kind of gives me, that point guard-esque feel. And, he's not the defender he was, but still, I'm getting a lot out of LeBron. Like KD, I could care less. I don't like Gary. I don't like Gary.
I couldn't. I agree with you completely. Number one, I was looking at this question originally. I'm like, is it all time? Is it just in general? Like, obviously LeBron's old at this point, but you can't deny the fact Giannis on his own got the Bucks to an NBA championship. I'm picking Giannis to start and play. Now, between LeBron or KD, listen, I trust LeBron. If I'm picking him, I'm starting him. So put him on my bench. LeBron can sit there. KD, I love KD. He's one of the most talented scorers of all time. But the fact that when he doesn't have help, he struggles.
Listen, KD is disqualified from this list because he's best friends with a guy that believes the earth is flat.
Oh, my God.
Sorry. I can't have these kind of idiots on my team. I don't want them. Keep them away from me. What's the next one, Kennedy?
The next one is Hill, Isaiah, or Dumars.
Oh, wow. That's a difficult one. All right, well, I'm starting Isaiah. I'm sitting Grant Hill, and I'm benching. Don't tell me we agree.
I almost said Grant Hill start, but the fact that Isaiah, man,
Zeke is
you got to start.
Unreal.
Just because Grant Hill, I mean, obviously more talented in the fact that he's taller, he's bigger, he can do more, he's athletic. But Zeke, man, I mean, God, listen, two-time NBA champion, get that man the starting role. So that's the only way. I mean, Grant Hill, as good of a player as he was, Isaiah's starting for me. And then
Listen,
Joe
when
Dumars,
I'm starting my franchise in any sport, I'm doing a very thorough test. I'm asking a ton of questions about you. And if one of the questions, which it will be, is do you believe the earth is a sphere or is it flat? And this dude, I don't care if it's LeBron James. I'd rather start my franchise with Kwame Brown than LeBron James if he believes the earth is flat. Get these people away from me. I have no time for it.
Are you asking them their weight too?
Yes.
How much you weigh?
How much do you weigh?
What's your BMI?
What's your BMI?
Your BMI.
Do you believe
You're
the
so-
earth is flat? How many Snickers do you consume prior to the game? I need to know all of this before I make these important decisions.
How many Snickers do you eat before the game? That's important. It's very important.
True. All right. Well, you guys probably don't know this, you two up there at the desk, but I've been running a poll during this show, and it's who has the best hair game today. And I'll read the
shut up.
stats.
Shut
37%
up.
said
You rigged
Kennedy.
it. You rigged
No,
it.
I didn't.
As an admin, you're allowed to change
24%.
votes, which I'm sure none of you
no,
at home even know this.
Jeff, you're second. Adam came in last behind Fish, so he's just mad. But D-Mac did vote for you, so there you have that. You have that
at least
on us,
D-Mac voted
Adam.
for me.
All right, well, that's all for today, everyone. We will see you right back here tomorrow. It will be Friday, and it will be so much fun. So we will see you then. This is Woodward Sports.